Okay, welcome to Sunday Night Synthesis, Series 2, Episode 3. Tonight's subject is I want to show you some approaches to ambient electronic music that I've utilized in two new pieces that I've composed. I'm going to show you the approaches that I used, and then I'll show you where the pieces are on YouTube so you can check them out. Okay, first of all, if you've been following the series, you pretty much know my setup for this piece. I'm pretty much just using, well, both of these pieces, the Moog Werkstatt and the Mother 32. Those are my main synthesis engines here in my setup. And of course the effects are over here. Electro-Harmonix, Memory Boy Deluxe Analog Bucket Brigade Delay. We have the Moog Cluster Flux here. Flange chorus, or a little bit of delay. There's an LFO in it. And then over here is the Moog 12-stage phaser. And at the end of the signal chain is a Zoom MS-70 CDR. That's chorus, delay, and reverb together. I primarily use it just for some add-on reverb at the end. The signal chain. And here's the Morley Twin Mix, which allows me to have my Werkstatt and my Mother 32 mixed. You can control the levels right here. In this piece, I'm not using either of the external sequencer units I have here, either the Korg SQ1 or the Electro-Harmonix 8-step program. So anyway, let's take a look at what I do use in these pieces. There's a lot of different approaches that you can use for ambient music and electronic ambient music. It's really all about sensitivity and expressiveness, and change over time in gradual, kind of methodical ways. But I find that the more you put expressiveness into your changes over time, the more effective and the more compelling the music will be for the listener. I like to do it real time, like live, almost improv, although really I do have an idea of what I want to do form-wise over the piece, and what things I'll be doing over time. I'm not like counting beats, and I'm not trying to be right on time and playing exact notes. Especially sometimes I'm not even using the equal tempered system. I'm using frequency ranges and sweeps and so forth. So anyway, in both these pieces I do use one aspect of the Mother 32 that's really cool. It has a noise generator in it. And first I'm going to do, turn up its volume so we can hear it. I have it sustain on, which is a switch here. So that's why it's just sustaining sound. It's therefore not going to be starting and ending notes. It just generates the sound according to your parameters that you set, and whatever pitch you select. This is actually a fairly low pitch, although right now we're not hearing so much of a pitch, although there is basically a fundamental frequency in there. When you use a noise generator, it's just transmitting noise, and that's this knob here, this one, that controls how much noise you have to the right and how much tone you have to the left. So there, now we hear pitch, and that's the fundamental frequency. And here we hear noise. But the reason why it sounds kind of like ocean waves going up and down is because I'm using the filter right here. Here's the filter's cutoff and its resonance. If I turn this to the right, the filter cutoff will be higher, although it's going up and down, because this cutoff is also being controlled through this switch here by the LFO to a certain degree. This is the amount of the effect of the LFO on the cutoff. And over here is the rate of the LFO. So it's going up and down in frequency slowly. Here, let's slow it down even more. Like that. And this is the amount that it does it. If I turn it all the way to the left, it doesn't do it at all. You don't hear the wave effect anymore. It's not going up and down. But if I turn this up further, now it's really going up and down in these sweeps of the cutoff frequency. This is a low pass setting on the filter right now. Over here. If I switch it up, it'll be high pass, but that doesn't give me the wave effect. But in any case, the amount, of course, I keep it kind of lower. Sounds a little bit more like ocean waves that way. Here's the resonance. This is how much that cutoff frequency is emphasized and how much areas around it are reduced. Now it's almost reducing those so much that it's producing in that center frequency range kind of like a tone. It's almost pitched. Well, in fact, I guess it is really. But at this, when you turn it down a bit, there, sounds more like waves or wind. And you can still use the cutoff frequency here though. If I turn this up, it does kind of push this LFO going up and down to be going up and down in higher frequencies. But there it's sounding more like a disturbing wind, which usually doesn't sound as regular. But ocean waves tend to have a regularity to them. Maybe not as perfect as this, but gives me that ocean effect. And I utilize this in one of the pieces. It's called Sky Crawl Meditation in Sanibel. It's from footage the video of it is some footage I filmed in Sanibel Island on the west coast of Florida. But in the beginning of the piece it has this kind of wave effect, although I think I have the cutoff frequency down a little further. So it's more of a muted ocean wave sound. And then I also have analog delay on it. Which kind of gives you fluttering trails on this wave effect sound. In fact, maybe the amount's a little too high. There. And the piece begins in this area, and then I slowly reduce the noise and proceed towards the drone. There we go. Let's turn it down though. Whoa! She's becoming a beast! Too much. Too much on the density of the delay there. That delay can get a little out of hand at times. But anyway, that's close to how it sounds in the piece. Although the delay trails in the piece tend to sound a little more randomized. I think this is up higher, but not as high as I just said it before. Maybe I turn the mix down, turn this up. There we go. Something like that. Turn this down a little bit more here. Careful. Delay's starting to get a little naughty. Alright, and then over here, the workshop I mostly use for soloing a bit. I think the cutoff's a little high. Yeah, it doesn't sound like that at all in the piece. There we go. There we go, that's better. Sorry. But you know, I set these things and I try to get in the ranges and feel the ranges that I'll be exploring in the piece. And then ahead of time, and then when I perform the piece, I'm already really kind of have a feel for the knobs and everything. I perform it, record it, and then later I can easily forget, you know, some of these things, because there could be like a slight change of a knob will make it sound very different. But anyway, back to the workshop here. Now that's the sound of the workshop going through the mixer here, but then also going through the same delay. And these bucket brigade delays, it has an oscillator on it and stuff. That's why the delay sounds like bending in pitch. It's got a slow oscillation happening there. So that way you can kind of hear the sound coming through at a delay, but it's moving. It's got this waveform movement to it, which works with the waveform of the original sound in a way. Keeps that theme, that motif going. And so the settings I'm using here is I pretty much set the frequency knob on a pitch that would be compatible with the fundamental here, and so that I could use a little push button keyboard here and pretty much be in a mode that works with that fundamental drone that's going on. And then this sound, of course, has its own filtering. There's the cutoff. I keep it down here, largely. And I have the resonance all the way up. And then with it, I also have LFO. But here's the amount knob. No, I'm sorry, the rate is here. The amount's here. And I have it controlling the cutoff frequency too, just like I have it, the LFO over here doing the same thing. So sometimes in the piece you hear that pulse. That's the LFO moving the cutoff frequency up and down. And and when I turn it to go fast, you don't hear the little oscillations or the cycles as much. They kind of blend together more, and it sounds more like frequency modulation. So as I go throughout the melody, there's points where I choose to accent some of the sustained notes. That modulation. So that's kind of like the tricks that I use in the piece, although right now as I'm hearing it, the settings are still not quite right for how it sounds in the piece. They sound better in the piece. Yeah, to recreate it, it would probably take a little bit of time of me just getting the parameters just right again. You know, one thing you could do is take a cell phone picture of it and stuff, but I didn't. These pieces are more intended to be moments in time, kind of like sound paintings, where I painted it, that's it, there it is. If I'm going to perform something like it again, it'll have a little more freedom to it, where it'll sound similar but not exactly the same. So in any case, in another piece, I kind of use the noise generator. Hold on. Wrong knob. I keep turning the wrong one at times. Where actually I don't use the delay at all. Where you hear the ocean wave sounds. And this is the piece called Beneath the Surface of the Water in Sanibel. Other footage from the same trip. Where pretty much the Mother 32 is doing ocean wave sounds. And then I use the Moog Werkstatt with the Coma Commander controlling it. Turn off its stand. Oh no, it was off. Hold on. See, right now it's sensing my hand in front of it. There we go. And the filter was not being controlled. Yes, it was being controlled by that. Yeah. Here we go. And I was using the filter and everything to kind of control. Where I was shaping pitch with the frequency knob itself and using the Coma Commander to basically alter the cutoff frequency. I put the sustain on, the note's basically going to play, although this patch cable should be turning it off. There we go. Better with it off like that. Yeah, the sustain ignores the VCA gate signals coming in. So, but on that piece, I think I muted it a bit by having the cutoff frequency low. And basically worked with it that way. So, let's shut off the Werkstatt for now. But one other thing, there's a bass groove in the prior piece that I mentioned Totally forgot to bring that in. It wasn't based on a drone in that piece. There was kind of a drone there, but I had this bass groove going. And stuff. And by having that bass groove going, there we go. When it's on noise, you still hear some percussive hits from the sequence, but when you turn the noise off and go to the tone, it sounds like a bass groove. So that Sky Crawl, we actually have a bass groove in that rather than the drone. Totally slipped my mind. Kind of an important part of the piece, too. So anyway, that shows you some of the approaches I used in the piece, both of these pieces. But now let me show you where you can hear them, if you want to check them out. Over here I'm recording the audio from my for the music here. But if you go to, trying to get to edge there we go, the LW Music channel. I have featured channels over here, and one of them is my other channel, and that is the music of Wayfarer. If you don't see it in the list over there, or if you're on your cell phone and it's hard to find that list, you can just search YouTube for music of Wayfarer. That's spelled W-A-Y-F-A-R-E-R. And symbol looks like this. This one right here. And there's the channel. And these two pieces I'm talking about are these two here in the uploads. And they're in the second playlist here called Sonic Visions Meditations. I'm going to be composing more of these and putting these up. Now, why is this on a different channel? Well, I have been maintaining like a musical endeavor that I call Wayfarer. It used to be kind of a band, and as I moved around, it became just me. And it's more of my personal music compositions, the stuff that I'm making for just pure enjoyment. When I was doing my studies in university, of course, there's composition. And then when a composer likes to do things that he or she just really enjoys, you feel like you kind of need to hide that in the closet somewhere, because lest ye be judged to be a fool by the academic rigor of those who take composition so seriously that they forget what it's all about. So anyway, music of Wayfarer is where I have these pieces. It'd be great. This is still a new channel, so it'd be great if you'd subscribe to this too, because as I compose new pieces, you'll see them come up and come out. I also have some meditations here that I made using Nodebeat and Apophysis for fractal animations. And I have a Minecraft series here. Crafty loves this. This is also features my music as a soundtrack, Wayfarer music. So, check it out, and I hope you like it. That'll be it for this week, and so I'll see you next week with a new Sunday night synthesis topic. Take care until then.